Hey everyone! I'm Rachel, and today I want to share with you my top free tips and tools for planning the perfect vacation. Let's go! There are a lot of apps, websites, and services out there when it comes to planning your travels. When we first started traveling more often, I was overwhelmed by my options. Over the years, though, I have managed to curate a small but mighty list of services and options that I always use when we start to plan a new adventure. Best of all, everything I use is 100% free. Some of them even give you rewards back. I want to share these tools with you in case they can help make planning your next vacation easier. I'm going to start with overall planning and organizational tips, then move into specific strategies to find the best flights, hotels, and activities for your trip. The main tool that I use for overall trip planning is my Google Drive. If you don't have a Google account, you just have to go to google.com and sign up. It's free. If you do have a Google account, all of the apps I'm going to talk about are already included and available to you. Google Drive is extremely versatile and has applications for document creation, spreadsheets, flowcharts, you name it. Because it's available on computers as well as all types of phones, the Android and iPhone users in your travel party will all have the ability to access and edit data. All items in Google Drive are also available to be accessed offline if you enable that option on your individual device, including computers and phones. Lastly, all edits are reflected in real time, so this makes planning with others a breeze. You can easily see who made what changes and when. If you're planning a trip that includes digital documents you need to have easy access to, think luggage tags for cruises or PDF tickets for activities booked, I recommend making a folder in your Google Drive with the trip name. You can share the folder either by link or email with anyone in your travel party or that you want to be aware of your plans. Anyone granted access will continue to have access to existing and any new items added to the folder, making coordinating for a group super easy. Once I've created my folder, my next step for any trip, no matter the size, is to create a Google Sheet for it. If you travel fairly often and want to make things a little easier, I'd recommend making a trip master template like this one so that you can just copy and rename the file for each trip. This will streamline the amount of information you have to enter every time and make sure you stay as organized as possible. If you create the sheet inside of the folder you created for the trip, everyone with access to the folder will automatically have access to the sheet. The first tab of my sheet is always the itinerary. This is where I keep all of the finalized details about the dates of travel, accommodations, booked activities, and any other things we might need to notate. This screen can be easily screenshot for all party members and will be your guide to make sure everyone has all the necessary information for your trip at all times. If you're traveling with people that are taking separate flights, trains, or even car routes to your destination, you can compile everyone's details on a flights or travel tab. This has come in handy many times for me. I've wanted to double check what time family arrived at the same airport before coordinating taxis, or if I was able to check flight status to make sure I didn't arrive at the airport to pick somebody up too soon or too late. We'll talk more about tools and tips for booking flights later. I also always create both hotel and activities tabs on my sheet. These tabs are used to compile lists of possibilities as you narrow down your perfect vacation. And the best part is that your fellow travelers can also contribute once given access. I always give some sort of guideline column headers so that everyone inputs the same information for each idea. And once you have all of the options listed, people can make comments with their thoughts or add notes directly on the sheet. I've used this strategy many times, and it's really helped to make sure that everyone's voice is heard when planning what to do on a vacation. Lastly, if you have certain items you want to bring with you on a given trip, you can also create a packing list tab. Especially if you're packing for multiple people or have certain items you have to bring like your passport, cruise luggage tags, or international plug adapters, this list could save you from forgetting items you don't always pack automatically. I travel enough that I actually have a separate packing list sheet where I keep tabs for the various types and lengths of vacation so that I never forget anything I need and can easily mark things off as I pack. If you're going on a cruise soon, keep an eye out for our videos on essential items to pack as well as what not to pack for a cruise. Now that we've got a basic organizational structure in place, let's talk about flights. I have tried so many different search engines and apps.
My number one piece of advice for booking flights is to generally book directly with the airline or from within your credit card's travel engine, especially if you're flying internationally. While you may end up spending a few dollars more than the discounted price you might have found other places, booking with the airline or your credit card means they are more likely to be able to help you immediately with any issues during your travels and are responsible for accommodating or rescheduling you, whereas third parties are typically harder to get support from and can't always resolve your issues right away. That being said, I still always try to find the best price, and my favorite place to do that is Google Flights. I know it sounds like I'm all in on Google, but honestly, this tool gives me the best features I've found. While some other services can only be used via an app or on your phone, or don't allow you to track flights long term, Google is extremely flexible. Google Flights compiles flights from pretty much every airline, so you can search in one place. You can search for one-way, round-trip, or multi-city fares. Be aware that if you search for a flight for 2 people, the total it shows you will be the total for your entire party, not per person. I also suggest that you never adjust the fare class when searching so that it returns maximum results. If you live near multiple airports or are flexible with which airport you want to fly into, you can add multiple airports to the departure or arrival fields. It shows you how the flight pricing changes day by day while you select your dates, or once you search, you can click the date grid or the price grid to see how being flexible with your travel dates affects the price of your trip. Once you get your results, you can narrow them down using a large variety of filters, including choosing the maximum number of stops you're willing to make, filter out any airlines you might not like to fly with, or even if the fare quoted includes baggage or not. I also love the connecting airport feature. If you're traveling during winter and want to avoid typically snowy locations for layovers, it's easy to do that. Now, once you have the general filters in place, maybe you're not ready to pick a flight because you're hoping the price will lower at some point. If you're signed into Google with the same account you'd use for your Drive and Sheets that I talked about before, you can click Track Prices both for your specific dates or any dates. Tracking flights is my favorite Google Flights feature. It's allowed me to save a good amount of money on flights by waiting until the right time to buy. If you track a flight or multiple, you can easily access your tracked flight page from the Google Flights homepage by clicking View All. From there, you can turn email notifications to the email link to your Google account on or off for all tracked flights, so that Google will notify you if the price changes significantly. You can also turn it on and off for each individually tracked flight. This page shows you a record of all price changes in the recent past, which is useful for understanding cyclical pricing patterns. You can also delete a tracked flight by clicking the trash can. One other great thing about Google Flights is that the pricing is generally what is available directly through the airline, which means you're not booking through a third party. I already expressed the pros to that, but I know some people just want the cheapest option no matter what, or want a little more adventure in their travel. And for those people, I would recommend using Skiplagged.com. You can't search multi-city or multiple airports on Skiplagged, unless you're in a large metropolitan area like New York. But there are a few features once you've plugged in your destination and dates that can make a difference. Just like Google, there's a pricing graph that shows you how the price will change if you select different dates, and you're able to create pricing alerts if you create an account and toggle the option on. But instead of just showing normal flights, Skiplagged gives you the option to display both self-transfer and Skiplagged flights. Self-transfer options are where you can fly into one airport and, during your layover, you transfer to a different airport to make your connection. It could also apply to extremely long layovers in a given city, where the layover is so long that you'll have to collect your luggage and then recheck it when it's time to make your connection. This can be especially useful if you want to use a layover to see a city or destination. For this example, we're flying from Salt Lake City to London. The self-transfer departure has long layovers in both Seattle and Calgary, so you'd have to collect any baggage, leave the airport, and come back before your next flight. We have a nephew in Seattle, so we could go spend some time with him. On the return flight, not only do we have a long layover in Paris, we have to switch airports. If you have extra time and an adventurous spirit, self-transfer flights could be a great way to see a city for a short amount of time in transit to your next destination, or see relatives and friends in different places. Now on to skiplagging. Skiplagging is when you book a flight that has a layover at your final destination and skip going to the booked final destination. The advantage to doing this is that it could be cheaper than booking a direct flight. However, airlines generally frown on this practice, and it could result in some ill will there. I typically will not book skiplagging fares myself, but if you're looking for the absolute cheapest flight, Skiplagged does give you that as an option. When you search on skiplagged.com, you can toggle the skiplagged option and scroll until you find one. For this example, instead of 2 layovers, you'd only have 1, and would skip out on the 3rd leg of a flight to Boston. While it's not the cheapest option in this example, there have been times where skiplagged options were the cheapest available when I searched for a flight. So it's ultimately up to you what you think is best for your travel party. As many options as there are for flights, there are even more when it comes to booking hotels and vacation rentals. One way to get a good overview of what's out there is to search hotels near and insert your destination on Google. This will pull up a map where you can input your dates and filter off many things, including price and Google review rating. However, be aware that the price displayed on this page is the lowest price collected from sites around the internet, many of which I would not book through due to a host of bad reviews and horror stories of showing up to find the hotel has no record of your booking. While I won't say that booking directly through the hotel's website is as necessary as when I'm booking flights, I will say that you want to be careful which sites you trust for hotel bookings and which you don't. So I would use Google Maps hotel search feature to get a good idea of the general area you want to stay and the ratings of some of the hotels there, then go to another site to find more refined options like booking.com or hotels.com. I use booking.com for probably 75% of my hotel and vacation rentals, including solo stays and groups of 10 or more, and I have never had an issue. The pricing is generally lower than most other places, and if you sign up for their free rewards, they'll give you an added discount on some stays. Just plug in the area you want to search, your dates, how many adults you have, and search. You can even indicate if you want to bring pets or not. Booking.com honestly has too many search filters for me to cover in one video, which means you can get super specific with what you want. If you create a free account, it will even save your used filters and display them at the top for easier access. One other great thing is maybe you don't want to scroll through all the filters. Instead, you can use the Smart Filters box to search for what you want and it will update your search accordingly. I also love the Show on Map feature. This opens a page that still lets you select and deselect all filters and see your options as a list, but it also lets you see them on the map so you can get a better idea of where they're located. I use this a lot when I'm trying to find a room near a specific activity or place, whether it's a concert venue, airport, or tour starting point. The pricing always displays as a total for all nights. You can see nightly rates by hovering over the information icon next to the total price on the search or on the specific rentals page. Once you have a rental you want to see more detail about, clicking into it gives you all of the information you could ever need. The first key thing is the address. If you click into the map, it will show you the pricing of that hotel as compared to others in its area, so you know the value you're getting. You can also see the review count and score out of 10, which is aggregated from a variety of verified travel sites as well as directly on booking.com. You can scroll through top reviews as well and see top attractions in the area. They always have a lot of pictures, both uploaded by the property and by other renters. Then they list the top amenities at that hotel like free Wi-Fi, air conditioning, and private beach access. I love that you can easily change your search dates and party size directly on a specific rentals page if you're looking at being more flexible with your dates. Now comes one of the main reasons I love this site. It gives you all of the information about what room types and pricing options are in a single matrix. For example, this hotel has a few different room types available on our dates. You can click the room type name and it'll bring up pictures of that specific room type and a list of amenities available, including square footage and if it has a view or not. It even has a bed comfiness rating gathered from the reviews. But beyond that, you can compare each room type based on what payment and cancellation terms you're looking for. This hotel has some rooms that must be paid in advance, which means they're a bit cheaper. But if you want the same room with the option to not pay until the week of your stay for a higher price, that's also displayed and available here. It also has fares that include breakfast and ones that don't, so you have all of the information at your fingertips to make an educated decision about what room you want to book. Prices may differ based on how many people are in the room, so make sure you're looking at that column during your comparison. Below all of the available room types, you'll see more detailed review information and questions other travelers have asked, as well as the option to ask the hotel your own question. It also shows even more local attractions, restaurants, and airports, and their distance from the property. All amenities are listed, and the house rules include check-in and out times, as well as more information about the cancellation and refund policies, which are always important to review before booking. Overall, Booking.com is my favorite place to book with because of the amount of information at my fingertips. But there are times when other sites may be cheaper, which is why I might also turn to Hotels.com. Hotels.com links Expedia and a few other travel sites to gather the best rates available. I've booked with them more than a handful of times and never had an issue with my reservation. Similar to Booking.com, they have a loyalty program that's free to join, and searching is as easy as plugging in your destination, dates, or flexible if you are, and number of people. The results page is pretty standard with a few great features. Firstly, if you sign up for their free rewards, all stays booked through Hotels.com will earn you 1 key cash, which you can apply to future bookings, and it shows you how much you have at the top of any search. Next, I love that it displays the discounts you're receiving by booking through them as opposed to directly through the hotel. This lets you easily compare the value of each rental. Just like Booking.com, you have a host of filters and are able to view the places on a map or in list format. Once you click into the details of a particular hotel or home, it will also show you photos, amenities, and reviews. But Hotels.com does a great job of displaying different room types and what the prices are, along with the value of the proposed prices. It makes sure you understand the value you'll get by booking non-refundable versus refundable fares, if you have to prepay a deposit, or if you can pay at the hotel. Unlike Booking.com and most other sites, it displays both the per-night price and the total price that includes the taxes and fees, so there won't be any sticker shock when you check out. The last item I want to mention about hotels is specific to theme park vacations. Most of the big parks like Disney and Universal have their own on-site or partner hotels. It's always a good idea to check vacation packages when planning a vacation to one of these places, as they often include perks like early entry, transportation, and fast passes. However, sometimes the hotels offered are super expensive. For example, we love to stay at on-site Disney and Universal hotels at the parks in Orlando, because the cheapest options there are normally the same price, if not cheaper, than other hotels in the area, and you get added perks. But at Disneyland in California, the only on-site hotels are hundreds of dollars more than nearby hotels, so it's always worth taking a look and understanding exactly what you want to get out of your hotel stay. No matter if you want to stay on property or at the cheapest option possible, there are some other great places to always check for deals if you're booking a theme park vacation. These include getawaytoday.com for Disneyland and other California parks, Costco Travel, though in my experience it's not always cheaper even though you might get some Costco reward dollars out of the deal, Orlando Informer, and Undercover Tourist. These sites all have slightly discounted park tickets that will work just like purchasing directly from the park itself, standalone hotel discounts, or packages that include both. They also all run specials at various times of year and are easy to navigate. If you're interested in a full theme park planning video where I go into more detail, let me know in the comments below. Now let's talk about one of the main reasons anyone takes a vacation in the first place: activities. This is definitely true for David and I. We love to explore places we've never seen before and experience a variety of the world's wonders. We routinely book organized tours and private excursions, but also book our own tickets for individual attractions, or love to experience things that don't require prior planning, like an impromptu hike up a beautiful Scottish mountain or a stop at an interesting roadside attraction. But when we're planning any vacation, there are always key items we want to make sure we see or experience, and especially when I'm planning a trip that includes other family members or friends, I want to ensure that everyone gets to see and do what's important to them, which is why pre-planning some activities is a must on any vacation. For those of you who are more like David and want to go with the flow, I'm not suggesting that you have to pre-plan every hour of every day of your trip, even though that is my personal preference. But it's important to make sure you're hitting the key items that are important to your party, so some degree of planning is needed. My first recommendation is to add an activities tab to your master trip Google Sheet. I talked a bit about this earlier, but doing this will allow you and your travel partners to input specific venues, tours, or activities that are important to them. By filling in details like cost, review scores, and giving links, you can compare and contrast your options and come to a consensus about what you should book and what you can live without, or even what you want to leave up to chance during the trip itself. When you're trying to narrow down things you might want to see in a certain location, Atlas Obscura is always a great starting point. They have a giant listing of both places and foods in locations all over the world, including some lesser-known results that you won't find on Google. That's because Atlas Obscura is crowdsourced. When someone finds something cool in their city or on their travels, they can add it there, complete with pictures. There are people behind the scenes that govern what's added, so you don't have to worry about being led astray when planning your vacation. The only time Atlas Obscura might not work well is for smaller destinations. If you're looking for things to do in a rural area, there might not be any results. But if you're looking for interesting things around a metropolitan area or even things to do on road trips, it's a great resource. I recommend searching for your destination and clicking on the destination guide if there's one available. From there, you can see a list of all the suggested places to visit in the city, including food and drink, a map, and even some suggested itineraries. Clicking into a location gives you pictures, a full description, links to their websites, a map, and even other activities on the site that are nearby. It will let you know the location's opening hours and if there's a cost associated as well. Overall, Atlas Obscura is great for getting a lay of the land and determining what unique places you won't want to miss on your adventures. But once you have a general idea of different places or activities you want to participate in, I have some suggestions of places to book these through. My main piece of advice, no matter what site you're using, is always read the reviews. It is not enough to look at the review score, though that is important. You should also pay attention to how many reviews a given place or tour has and see if there's written feedback. It's possible if there are only a handful of reviews, it's a new offering, or the reviews may only be from the tour operator's friends and family. Reading through written information will help you gauge things like if the tour fulfilled everything promised or even accessibility requirements. There have been times where we've been on tours and other travelers didn't understand the level of walking involved or that lunch was or was not included. Knowing what you're getting for the price you're paying is extremely important. My two favorite places to book activities and tours are Viator and getyourguide.com. I've never had any issues with either platform and have used them both frequently in the US and abroad. Both will let you choose if you want to pay at the time of booking or later, usually 2 to 3 days before your activity or tour. But for me, Viator has a slight edge for a few reasons. Firstly, I just prefer their search and filter interface over getyourguide.com. Both will get you what you want, but I find Viator's filters to be simpler and in a better spot. Another key reason to use Viator is that when you sign up for their free rewards program, you earn cash back that you can use towards future activities. The last key feature of Viator is that they aggregate reviews from both their own site and TripAdvisor, which will give you a lot more information when trying to determine what activity is best for you. When you book an activity through Viator, you'll receive a voucher with a barcode that you can access on your computer, save as a PDF, or download their app to view. That voucher will list all of the important information, like the date and time of your tour, where to meet or be picked up, and remind you of important things like passport requirements or suggested clothing. Get Your Guide has some smaller tour operators on it, which offers a nice contrast to some of the larger tours on Viator. Both sites give you great information on the tours and activities listed, including the length, what's included and excluded, the exact locations visited, and if there's pickup service offered. I also love to look through some of the photos from people that have taken the excursion in the past. It gives you a much better idea of what you're in for than the stock photos supplied by the tour operator. While we're discussing activities, I also want to mention a cruise-specific activity tidbit. Cruise lines all offer their own excursions. You can usually book them directly through your cruise line's website or app from the time you've booked a cruise all the way up to the day of the excursion if availability is there. Generally, these excursions will be similar to or even the same as you can find on the sites I talked about, but for a slightly higher price point. But why pay more for the same activity? Because if you book an excursion through your cruise line, they will hold the ship for you if something prevents your tour from getting back before the all-aboard time. The cruise lines have also vetted the tour operator and stay in constant contact. We've been on excursions before where people got lost, and our tour guide was able to locate them by reaching out to the shore excursion staff on the ship. We have been in a scenario where our excursion was late getting back, and they literally pulled up the anchors as soon as our full tour group was on board. We have also seen people that did not take ship excursions running for the gangway only to find out the ship had left them behind. Ultimately, what activities you do and who you book them through is up to you. But if you're looking at doing anything that may end close to your all aboard time, I highly recommend booking through the cruise line for some added peace of mind. And those are my favorite free tools for vacation planning. Here's a helpful recap you can screenshot. You can also find all of the links in the video description as well.
Thanks for joining me as I shared with you my favorite trip planning tools and strategies. I hope you found this helpful and that you might even use some of these in your next vacation. If you've used these tools or other tools and you want to give me some feedback, please let me know in the comments below. I would love to hear from you. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more travel content from us, please like the video and subscribe on YouTube. For now, I'm Rachel, and on behalf of David and myself, we hope this video helped you find the right direction for your next adventure. Bye!